Okay, welcome, Pahrump. I'm Dr. Michael Reiner, the host of the Independent Medical Group. That first segment that you were watching was actually a rerun of introducing Dr. TV with Vern, and this segment, the next 45 minutes, is actually live. As you see, I changed my shirt from a nice cool yellow to a blue. The number that you see on the screen is my office number. There will be a number posted later, will be a 727-8750, and that will be a live call-in number. There are a lot of things going on in the world today, and a lot of them are very, very scary. And if you're not watching the news and you're glued to your phone and you're talking to your friends, you're probably not aware. If you are aware, and I know most people in Pahrump are aware of what's going on in the world around them, it's a very, 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 I would say, it's just an unsafe place right now. It's a very difficult thing to maneuver. And so I was going to talk about diabetes because I've been talking about weight and calories and things of that nature. But with this Ebola issue that is coming up, with ISIS, with all of the things with potential war in the Middle East, I thought we might talk about disaster preparedness. I think, and this is not a series on prepping, and things of that nature and all of that other stuff, because I think that is something that not a lot of people, they have different views on that. But with regards to medicine and medical issues, I thought it would be time to talk a little bit about how you as an individual or as a person with some common illnesses might think about what you might want to do to help prepare for a common disaster. And then I'll talk a little bit about Ebola when we get into one of those things and what is going on with that particular virus and what we might be looking at. So anyway, with that, if you could bring up the first slide. This slide talks about if the things that we want to do, let's see. Let's see, move your mouse. Well, anyway, I'm not sure where we're going to bring this slide up. So anyway, we want to talk about a real disaster in epic proportions. Okay, the one thing I want to make sure that you understand is that the government is not going to be there to help you. And I think that that's important for everybody to realize is that they're not from the government. They're not here to help you. Let's see. We're going to start this slideshow over again, and let's see what happens here. Okay. And remember that chance does favor the prepared. So in a true epic disaster, one that affects the whole society or affects things on a grander scale than just something in your own arena, don't rely on the government. They are definitely not going to be there to help you. And the other thing is that chance does favor the prepared. And what I mean by that is nobody really knows if anything will happen. This world has been held together through other crises, and nothing seems to happen. And maybe just fear-mongering is the correct term. People live in fear and they do things, but at the end of the day, the sun sets, it rises. People live, people die, people cry, people get happy, and nothing really bad seems to happen. So through all of this, that people laugh at people preparing for the end of the world, and yet nothing bad happens. So with that being said, if you're least prepared, you have a chance of enduring what could be or what might be a horrible event. With that in mind, what we're talking about is preparing for a disaster of 3 to 6 months in duration. And the reason I say 3 to 6 months in duration, anything longer than that would be what they call the end of the world as we know it scenario. And those types of disasters really are not really worth preparing for. That would be something as a meteor or Armageddon or one of those movies where, we got struck by a comet or things of that nature. Those are definitely not the type of events we're trying to prepare for, because nobody really can understand the calamity, and even the movies can't really talk about it. And so we're talking about these 3 to 6 month duration events, something like an earthquake, something like maybe a minor power outage, like we had here. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago. Someone said someone shot a power line out, or maybe there was ice and it broke the power line, and Pahrump was out of power for 3 to 4 days, and in a very difficult winter time. Those things can be, incredibly small. 3-day disasters can mean everything for someone who's really, really ill. Terrorist attack. Now we do live with the threat of a terrorist attack. We have had a terrorist attack, but it didn't destroy or it didn't hurt the food chain. I mean, food still got shipped in. I mean, if you really realize it, we really only have about a 3 to 4 day supply of food in the grocery stores, and it's constantly restocked. If there was a solar flare or something that took down communications where we couldn't use our debit cards, do you have enough cash on hand to be able to buy things at the grocery store? Do you have those abilities to be able to maneuver in times of difficulty with regards to that? So those types of events, even if there was a terrorist attack, it's a terrorist attack in a local area. It may not even affect your area. But we do live in Las Vegas, where supposedly ISIS has made an attack of this, or New York City. So, we might be something along that line. Now, when I talk about Ebola virus or some type of pandemic, I don't know if anybody watched a movie called Contagion that came out, but I think that very, very accurately depicted what could happen with a global killer. Every 100 years, there is a pandemic killer, and every 30 years, there's a pandemic viral infection. But a pandemic killer was the Spanish flu in the 1900s, and we have selected for another pandemic killer, and Ebola could very well be that killer, that 100-year viral issue that comes along. And if you don't think it's a threat, you just have to watch what happened. I mean, terrorist attacks are a possibility. We sent 1,000 troops to Iraq. We sent 3,000 troops to Western Africa. And that tells me that our government is more worried about this Ebola virus than it is about ISIS. And that may be a political game, but this Ebola issue is a very, very, very serious and potential possibility. And if you're not aware of it, you should be aware. And I'm going to go to break, and when I come back, I'll talk a little bit more about Ebola and some other things that we may need to worry about. Thanks for tuning in tonight, Pahrump.